An Introduction to Linear Perspective Drawing by Heather Dietrich. A linear perspective drawing is done by drawing lines to one or more points on the horizon. A drawing in perspective gives the illusion of distance, depth, and space. This is achieved by drawing some of the lines in the picture towards a point in the distance called a vanishing point. Today we are going to draw the beginnings of an imaginary city. We will be using two-point perspective. That means we will be using two different vanishing points. The first step is to draw a horizontal line about 2/3 up from the bottom of your paper. This is called the horizon line. The horizon line will be the only truly horizontal line on your paper. You can remember this by remembering horizon line equals horizontal. The next step is to make two separate points on your horizon line. The farther apart they are, the easier your picture will be to draw. These are your vanishing points. Now that you have your paper set up, let's start to draw some buildings. The first line will be a vertical line. Use a T-bar if you have one. This line will be the corner of your first building. Using your straight edge, draw a line towards each vanishing point at the bottom of your vertical line. Do not draw all the way to the vanishing point, you will just have to erase it later. Now draw a line toward the vanishing point at the top of your vertical line. Now draw a vertical line to connect the top and bottom line. This will determine the depth of your building, or in other words, how far your building will go back into space. Now repeat this process on the other side. We have just drawn the first building. Using one of the bottom lines will help us place the next building. Since these buildings will be on the same block, they need to sit on the same perspective line. Leave space for an alley and then draw the bottom of the next building. The length of the line will determine how wide the front of the building is. This time we will draw the vertical line second, and like before, how high the vertical line is how high the building will be. Next, we need to draw our second bottom line toward the vanishing point, but we have to make sure we stop when the line runs into the first building. Next, we draw the top perspective line to form the side of the building. And we finish the side of the building with a second vertical line that we draw until we hit the first building. To make the other side of the building, draw the top perspective line, and then simply draw another vertical line to connect the top and bottom. And now we will do the same thing on the other side. And now we have our three buildings. But to add even more interest to our imaginary city, we're going to add a sidewalk. To do that, you start off the same way as you did with the buildings. We're going to make a vertical line to indicate the corner of the sidewalk. Then we're going to draw lines toward our vanishing points on the top and the bottom of the vertical line. We'll do this on both sides so that we can see the corner of the sidewalk. The next step is we have to make the squares in the sidewalk. So we're going to measure off about an inch all the way up the sidewalk and make marks. And then we're going to use the opposite vanishing point with our ruler and make the sidewalk squares. And we'll do that on both sides. And now we have our beginnings of our imaginary city with 3 buildings and a sidewalk.